Hey, welcome to JoeGa Fitness with me, Joe, and today's Kundalini arms practice. So there's going to be other stuff in there as well, of course, but we're going to predominantly work on the arms. If you do enjoy it, please, as always, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell, let me know you have been watching, and any comments, get in touch using the mediums below or social media or any which way you want to. When you're ready, we are going to begin, so bring your hands into prayer, bow the head for our salutation. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo, Om Namo Guru Dev Namo, Om Namo Guru Dev Namo, Sat Nam. So just releasing that and letting go. Just coming hands onto knees. So just a reminder, because sometimes I forget, that when we change the position, when we change the exercise, we're supposed to change the cross of the legs, but I don't always cue that, so forgive me. We're going to start off with our spinal flex, which is like a cat and cow sitting down. If you prefer cat and cow on your all fours on your knees, then please feel free to modify and do that. This is just a nice mobilizer, just allows us to start to work into the spine. And the beautiful thing about Kundalini is this repetition. So you can close your eyes, you can come to breath, you can just let your body move and just let the mind completely relax. Just let that brain really let go. And you're supposed to work with mantra. The mantra for Kundalini is Sat Nam, but you can work with any mantra. You know, if you have a need in your life at the moment, maybe it's happiness, maybe it's health, maybe it's wealth, I don't know. Wealth doesn't have to necessarily be monetary. It can be in experience or longevity or whatever. But, you know, you can break those down into 2 syllables and you can kind of go health or wealth or happiness, whatever it is for you, just allowing yourself to work through. And we're just going to do about 2.5 minutes, maybe just over 2 minutes per exercise. It's about 20 exercises to go. And we're just going to let ourselves really settle into the movements. So working through spinal flex to begin with. This is a great one for hips, of course, and the upper back. It works through both areas. So it is fabulous for getting in and working the whole length of the spine, which attaches the head, the arms, and the legs all together, of course. So just pulling up now, just holding through the center, just draw the navel in, just lift the heart, and just observe the body. Just notice how we feel. Great work. And then we're just going to put our hands on our shoulders, and we're just going to rotate, little tiny little twists, okay? So you're rotating the whole way round. I have a bit of brightness here today. I'm struggling a little bit with being able to see. So moving through, keep it moving, quite fluid. And the beauty of Kundalini is, of course, that you can choose your dynamic. So if you want to go really fast and that feels good for you, then please feel free to do that. If you want to just move a little bit slower, if you want to feel your way through the movements in a different way, then of course you've got the absolute, you know, open playing field to do this however you want to. But what I want you to do now is I want you to start to release the hands so that you are working a little bit more, and you will feel this in the upper back. So I know that, you know, I said arms, but I'm talking upper body, upper back, and it's also you get it into the hips. Now, did you remember to change your legs? Because of course I didn't, so I'm going to quickly do it now. Never mind. I always forget something. And then just taking those arms a little bit higher, so kind of into a full extension. And you're working across the waist here, when of course the muscles of the hip cross into the abdomen. They are part of the abdominal area as well as into the legs. So we have got this upper body that's also influencing the lower body, and just going a little bit more. Lovely. Nice. And then just slowing it down a little bit. And then bringing the elbows down a little bit, back to those kind of right angles. And then bringing the hands back onto the shoulders. And then just slow it right down. And again, just when you release the hands, just notice the body. You might notice there's a little bit of a buzz in there. That's the prana flowing. So just being aware of that and just noticing. And then of course changing the legs if that suits you. Coming into, so it just helps with the hips when we change and change and change again. So we're going to bring the hands back up and you're just going to move them out and in, okay? Now you can do this one at a time, or of course you can do them both together. The idea is that you hold the elbows as high as the shoulders and you're working from the elbows, hinge joint, and it's very much into the biceps. Now you can feel the shoulders, the back of the neck, the upper back, trapezius, rhomboids, delts, and you know, all of those muscles that run up and down the spine. When you have to hold yourself very vertical like this, they are getting a great workout. And then of course you've got the movement through biceps and triceps. So this can be quite intense. So this one is going to be a little bit easier because you've given one arm a little bit of a rest while the other arm moves. So this is when it's that little bit, and of course speed, you know, momentum, go a little bit quicker. And you are going to be working a little bit higher intensity. Just be careful of snapping through the joints. We don't want to throw them out, but we are just gonna, lovely, and keep them working. And then just letting that go, just releasing them down. And again, just take through center, just sitting up nice and tall and pull through. So again, just swapping the cross of the legs and just allowing yourself to sit up. We're going to bring the hands into Padma Mudra, the prayer pose. And I'm going to show you this from the front, from the side and from the back, okay? It's very simple. You roll the hands open, keeping the elbows really tucked in to the side of the waist. And you open and close like this. But what this does is probably, hopefully you can see from the back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. You get this squeezing as if you're trying to hold something between the scapula, and you keep those elbows all the way around together. Remember which way. That's it. So we're not throwing the arms out. We're really gripping the rib cage with the upper arm. We're really looking to keep that contraction really isolated into the upper back. Well done. And you know, with this, we're doing just over maybe 2 minutes-ish. You can go for anything, you know. You probably wouldn't want to do one exercise for an hour, but it has that meditative quality about it, and you certainly can. You can just get into that rhythm, just let the mind clear, and certainly, you know, in practice, you'd be looking for, you know, 5 or 10 minutes, really. We're doing a shortened version because of time constraints. But, you know, imagine how beneficial this is to cleansing the mind and strengthening the body, to just sit and do this for 10 minutes. And the great thing about doing it for 10 minutes at a time is you don't have to think. Just hold the hands in prayer and just notice. You don't have to think too much about loads and loads and loads of different exercises. You can just pick a couple and just practice. Okay, so we're going to swap the cross of the legs once more. And this time we're going to do a spinal flex, but I want you to do them with the arms straight. It's really tricky to keep the arms straight. So you're kind of rolling around. And feel free to kind of maybe let the hands articulate against the knees, because you need to create a bit of space. But normally we would do this and we would have the elbows bent. When you've got the arms straight, it just changes the sort of instrumental dynamics of the exercise. Again, really good for lower back. If you have any SI joint issues, any issues with lumbar, any hip issues, this can be really beneficial. It's lovely to move the whole spine. Just rolling away around. Just pull up and hold. And then around the other way. So everything we do, we undo, remember. We should always come back to that point of zero. Really nice. Looking good. But a great one, you know, if you're like, if you have a favorite program on TV, or if you have a favorite podcast, or, you know, you like listening to something, the radio, or you know, something, then Kundalini, it's not obviously purist, but I'm saying get your workouts in, get your yoga into your life as much as you can. So if you've got your favorite something to watch or listen to, just pull up through the center. Lovely. And bring the arms out. Change the legs, of course. Bring the arms out as if you're kind of Frankenstein. So again, just a little side view so you can see they're out of shoulder height. And they're just going to pump. Okay, and again, speed and intensity is determined by you. Yeah, so yeah, not true, not purist, but you know, if you're getting that little bit of yoga into your life, that little bit of movement, exercise, then do this with your favorite program. Do it with your favorite podcast. It's a bit tricky maybe to do while you're reading, unless you've got something to hold your book, but you know, there are ways we can kind of double up, and when we double up, we don't notice we're doing it quite so much. And when we don't notice we're doing it quite so much, we can just do so much more. So it doesn't feel like, you know, you're doing exercise, if you want to give it that term, or yoga. And again, Kundalini just lends itself to this so well because of the repetition. So once you're doing this, you know, you could be listening to your podcast and you just get on and you just do it, and before you know it, you've done 10 minutes and you change to your next exercise. It's brilliant. Superb. Keep going. Keep those arms moving. A little bit quicker if you can. And then slow it down. And again, just turning the hands, palms up, rest them on the knees, and again, feel that little energy buzz through to your fingertips. Now the next exercise, not fabulous if you're not in stretchy clothes, so apologies for that, but we will do our best. We're going to come over onto all fours. So the option here is, of course, to cat and cow. So just roll the spine. But the true exercise we're going to do, I don't know if my glasses are going to stay on, but we'll see, is down dog to plank, okay? So coming up into your down dog shape, and then rolling out to plank. And lifting the hips, and rolling out. So again, it's that Satnam, that mantra, the speed, and imagine doing this for 10 minutes. You know, this is such a strong practice, Kundalini. Fabulous for building strength and tone and stamina and stretch, of course. And I'm sure you can feel the work in the shoulders, the shoulder girdle, obviously through the core, and the hips. When you lift the hips, stretching into glutes and hamstrings, coming down, using psoas scroop, quads. Awesome work. Just a couple more if you can. And then we're just gonna come down onto our knees. So rock pose. kneeling if you can, okay? If your knees don't like this, then obviously you can come over, do cat and cow. But we're just going to take the arms up overhead, maybe together in prayer pose, maybe facing forwards. And it's a little bit like a bow down, okay? Forehead to the floor and lift up. Now, normally when we do this, you know, I'm saying don't push off the floor. But today, because I'm working more into arms and upper body, I want you to be aware of how your arms are moving. So, you know, let the elbows flare, feel the upper back contract, and then pushing off and changing it just a little bit. If you don't push off and don't use your arms, obviously it's much more into the abs in terms of strengthening, and that's fine too. But it's a bit like a little bit of a push-up when you do it, when you concentrate on the upper body. Great work. And again, rhythm, momentum, speed, it's determined by you, and that will increase or decrease the intensity. All right, last one. Lovely. And let that go. So you can stay in rock pose, kneeling, or you can come back onto your bottom. And if you've got your legs crossed, don't worry if you don't remember how they were. I always, whenever I come back to my bottom after being somewhere else, I tend to go right leg in front and then work from there. So it's warrior fists, and you're punching out. And again, we're looking at alternating, which gives us the opportunity to rest the one that's not moving. If you want to work a little bit higher intensity, both arms together, you know, and I'm rolling palms back, pulling back in, and then turning the palms over. So I'm getting this little twist as well. Okay. Yeah, and then speed. I know some of you are speed demons, you know, just be careful again about throwing and jarring those joints. But control, control, control. But speed is entirely up to you. And again, close the eyes, fall into the movement, go back to mantra, follow the breath. Dog's just joined us, so here we go. Of course, if you have bands and weights, you want to make it a real kind of resistance workout, you can add those in. Just pause and let that go. Notice, just take time to notice in between. Just gives the heart rate and the breathing rate a little time to settle as well. But yeah, you can add in weights, you can add in bands. There's all kinds of things you can do to manipulate it, to make it more traditional exercise while still keeping that toe in the Ayurvedic holistic side of things. Okay, we're going to come back to relying on our tummy. So coming back over and lying down. And I want you to keep your hands beside your rib cage and your nose is to the floor. Now I'm just lifting my head a little bit because I'm talking to you, but I'll be bringing it down when we start moving. So you're pushing up into a kind of modified up dog and then releasing down. Okay, push and down. So it's kind of like a reverse press up, a negative press up. Okay. And I'll just take it to the side just in case you didn't see properly. Up, hello, sorry, hitting the dog, and he's disappeared back onto his bed. Sorry, did you get my feet? Up and down. And again, if you kind of close your eyes and feel the physicality of this, provided you've got good wrists. If you've not, you can make fists and push. This keeps the wrists in a nice straight line. Push from fists, just takes a little bit of the pressure out of the wrists. But yeah, the physicality of this, again, imagine we're doing kind of 2 minutes, imagine doing 5 or 10 minutes of this. It does get very challenging. All right, one more. Lovely. Take it back to swan stretch. Oh, take a nice child's pose. Great work. Okay, coming back onto the bottom. So again, you know, with the cross of the legs, if you remember where they are, if not, don't worry about it too much. We're going to come back into Padma Mudra. We're going to do that Padma Mudra again, but this time you throw the arms to the side, so you're working all the way along. And think about stretching pectoralis, contracting the back muscles, and then obviously conversely on the way in. Yes, just a thought there. Make sure you're not going to hit anything or anyone. You're not going to damage anything. Back into prayer. So same starting position as this one, but a completely different outcome. And again, momentum, speed, you know, go quicker, make it work, or don't. Somewhere in the middle. Really great work, well done. Last two. Great job, let that go again. Always just take a moment to notice how you're feeling. And again, I'm going to get us to come over onto all fours. And we're just going to roll the wrists here, just rolling round, rolling the wrists. So the arms are staying straight. You're moving actually through the hips. Again, I'm going to go side on. So think about the hips. You're getting a bit of movement into the wrists and the shoulders, but it's all being driven by the hips and bottom. Okay, so it's just a nice way of rolling around those wrists after those strong exercises, and then just rolling back the other way. Okay. Now we're going to come down to prone, and we're just going to lift to cobra. So slightly different. We're keeping the elbows bent and we're just lifting. So whereas before we were pushing all the way up, now we're staying on bent arms and we're just lifting. Now when you come up, squeeze the upper back. Really feel like somebody has dropped a £50 note behind you and you're trying to catch it between the shoulder blades. Keep those elbows bent, keep that body long. Really lifting into that striking cobra pose and releasing. So just a little variation on the one before. And I find this one more challenging. When you come up and you lengthen and straighten the arms, you can lock the elbows and kind of hold yourself up here, so it becomes a bit easier. This one, it doesn't. Okay, last one. Again, just take that child's pose to release. Always good to get a stretch. And then rolling yourselves back up to sitting for me, please. Okay, last couple. Take the arms out to the side. I've got my palms facing forwards. I'm just going to circle the arms forwards. Thumbs are up. Again, if you've got weights, you can hold weights. If you don't have weights and you have tins, as long as they're 2 tins the same, or something like a laundry detergent, you know, in bottles, you can make do, weights, improvise. And again, thinking about speed, yeah? How fast you want to go. And then pause and unwind, so take it back, little scoops back, as if you were lying in a pool somewhere, just scooping the water, shimmying back. Excellent. Last breath. And again, just allow them to pause. Excellent. So we're going to extend the legs this time. So stretching your legs out in front of you. And we're going to take the arms down towards the toes. Actually touching the toes is, as always, not the intention. Just down towards the toes. You circle one arm back and then bring it through and circle the other arm back and bring it through and switch and change. So you're working through the waist, you're working through the shoulder, you're working through the neck. This beautiful kind of backstroke type movement with this kind of Paschimottanasana in the middle, this lovely long stretch down towards the toes. And then what I'd like you to do, hold it here, and then we're going to go and reverse it. So you're kind of bringing it back and then bring it over. And I guess this is a bit like front crawl, butterfly, I never know. I don't do a lot of swimming. Yeah, that kind of motion anyway. Big swim-like motion. I think this one's front crawl, isn't it? Because we're doing one arm at a time. I think butterfly is both arms or something. But we don't do both arms with this one because we want the rotation at the waist. So keep it alternating arms and feel that rotation through lower back, abdomen. Beautiful. One more each side. And then just pause in that forward fold and just let yourself relax here. And just breathe and let go. Lovely. We're going to roll over onto all fours again. And I've done this on purpose because you can do it where you do all the ones that are like this all together, but I think those extra movements are just beneficial of coming over and going back again. It just gives us extra, you know, extra calories burn, if you like. So we're going to take it up. We're going to take it up into three-legged dog. We're going to bring it through and take it up. Okay, and we're just going to do this a few times. Working into that hip, working into those glutes. So three-legged dog, and then as if you're coming to thunderbolt pose. We're actually going to take it into pigeon. So we're going to turn out that hip. We're going to bring the knee to the outside, beyond the wrist, in line with the hip. And just bring ourselves down to take a stretch here. Now I've dropped down onto my forearms. If that's not for you, then that's absolutely fine. You can stay high. If you prefer to drop all the way down onto your head, you can go all the way down. So it really is entirely up to you. However and as ever you wish to do it. Just hold and breathe for a few more seconds, please. And then let's make our way back up onto all fours. And we'll take that over to side two. So when you're ready, setting up, three-legged dog into that thunderbolt pose. So really put the knee down and feel that support as you come through, okay? Push back, squeeze the upper body, work through wrists, elbows, shoulders, and of course into that hip. Nice work. Couple more like this. And then starting to feel ready. Preparation for pigeon. So swing that knee beyond the wrist to the outside edge of the mat. Send the leg back, come down. Allow yourself to relax. Again, you could go flat or you can stay high. Choice is yours. Pigeon's a great one for hold. So we're just going to stay here a little while longer. And with all the repetitive movements we've been doing, these periods of calm, of still, they're just really nice. Real contrast, way of observing your body, noticing your breathing rate, heart rate, temperature, and then when you're ready, just coming back up and just taking a moment. Just take child's pose, take wide leg child's pose, just because we've been working into the hip. Just come on down and relax into this. When you're ready, excuse me, taking a rise, just coming up, readjusting myself. And again, just sitting in a position of comfort. So you can sit in rock pose, you can sit with the legs extended, you know, you can sit with the legs wide, whatever. It's entirely up to you, but I just want to take, we've been doing a lot of repetition, I want to take a few moments to do some stretching, okay? So we're just going to start off by bringing one hand out in front of you. I've got my palm facing to the side, I've got my thumb up. I'm going to track it across the body. I want to keep it down nice and low so it's not up across my throat. And I keep the arms straight and I'm going to stretch it over to the side. So we're stretching into the shoulder. And then we're going to release that off and we're going to do that on the other side. So just tracking it round. Keep it low. There's a tendency for the shoulder to rise up. It needs to be kept really nice and low. Beautiful. And then let that go. Just rolling through the shoulders. Rolling the shoulders backwards or forwards, whichever way. And then whichever way you've been going, let's go the other way. And then just roll the fingers together and push the shoulder blades apart as if you're kind of hugging on to a great big ball. And then sitting up nice and tall, take those hands behind and take a stretch behind. Okay. Lovely. And then just let that sort of shimmy and shake. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the arms wide. We're going to wrap them around and kind of give ourselves a hug, and then open them wide and then wrap again. So you're working back into the Kundalini principle, continual movement. But we've just had a little stretch out of all these just before we do. So it's kind of like giving yourself a little micro cuddle in the middle. And again, think about your speed. Can you go a little bit quicker? In control. Don't be kind of flailing and flopping out of control. Stay in control. Can you reach around a little bit more? Getting that really big stretch, either on the chest or on the back. And as I said, alternating the arms, so the arm at the top changes each time. Okay, and what we're going to do now is take the arms open wide, give yourself a cuddle and stay there, and just see if you can really bring the fingertips. You might be able to hook them onto the scapula, you might be able to, I don't know, can you get them together around the back? You must have really long arms, a really tiny body if you can do that, but I'm sure there's somebody somewhere that can. So just feel that, and then change sides. So bring the other arm on top, and just give yourself a cuddle, the other arm on top. Nice. Beautiful. Let that go. What I'd like you to do now is come down to Shavasana. So roll yourself down, and I want you to take your arms out to the side, palms up. I'm going to just straighten my legs so that you can see a bit better, but you can bend your knees if you need to. And I just want you to concentrate on the shoulder blades. So just kind of squeeze the shoulder blades together and then let them go. Semantics. Squeeze them together and let them go. And you might just feel like when you squeeze them together, your body lifts a little bit, and then when you let them go, you sink down again. So just isolating shoulder blades. Squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. And notice when you squeeze them together, this is tension. And when we let them go, this is relaxation. Notice the difference, because quite often we travel through life very tense without even realizing we're there. So notice when we're relaxed. Let's do one more. And relax. And just let ourselves be relaxed. And do the same in the hips. Squeeze the bottom and then let it go. Squeeze and release. So again, tension and release. Tension and release. And remember, tension is good. Some tension we need, otherwise we'd just be sat there all day doing nothing. We need some kind of tension. But we need to know the difference between tension and relaxation, and we need to know how to access both. All right, let's access relaxation now. So let everything go, release. I invite you to close your eyes. Notice your body. Notice your breath. Notice your mind. Notice your emotion. Notice your mood. So when you're ready, coming up to sitting, bring the hands together into prayer, and we'll finish as we began with our Kundalini mantra. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Sat Nam.